Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today I'm going to be sharing my top 10 Switch games. So, the Nintendo Switch has become my favorite console of all time. It has surpassed the Super Nintendo. I just think it's the best for every reason imaginable, pretty much. I just think it's a fantastic system. For the handheld mode, the fact that you can play it on the TV. There are a million games out now. It's been out for 4 years and it is just doing so well. Some of my favorite games of all time are on the Nintendo Switch. It is full of ports, so if you missed games from, previous eras, consoles, decades, they're on there, and we're talking like games that are 30 years old and games that are like, 10 years old. So the Nintendo Switch pretty much has it all. I have 34 physical Switch games. I don't have tons of digital. I'm more of a physical person, but I have accumulated a decent Switch collection. So at this point, I have decided, I can probably make a top 10 list. So I went through my Switch collection and here we go. So coming in at number 10 is a port, and it has 2 games in it. It's fantastic. Everybody speaks pretty highly of this game, and that is Final Fantasy X and X-2, the HD remaster for the Switch. Now, I have this game for the PlayStation 3, the HD remaster. I also own Final Fantasy X-2 for the PlayStation 2. I don't think I actually own a copy of Final Fantasy X on the PS2, but I did play the remaster of 10. I will admit, it's the only game on this list that I never finished, and that's Final Fantasy X. I got to pretty much a couple bosses away, and I have shelved it for now. That doesn't mean I'm never going to finish it, but for now, it's being shelved. But I did recently play Final Fantasy X-2, and I did beat it, and I really like both. I love both. Final Fantasy X isn't my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's one of my favorite Final Fantasies for so many reasons. The world, Spira. This is an awesome, awesome world. It's colorful. It's right up my alley. You guys know that I like colorful games. I like whimsical games. It has beautiful music. Obviously, Final Fantasy never disappoints. Even the ones that Nobuo Uematsu did not score are still really good, in my opinion. And it's just a really good battle system. It's awesome. It's really, it's not what the Final Fantasies are now. It's still turn-based. It's really enjoyable. And I just really have mostly good things to say about it. The only negative I will say about Final Fantasy X, and this is totally personal, is the fact that I'm not in love with tons of the characters. I just found that as a team it was great, but like individually I wasn't like, oh, so-and-so is my favorite. I kind of didn't really gravitate to any of them, but as a package, as a whole, Final Fantasy X and X-2, the HD remaster on the Switch, is fantastic. It's a great package. It's so cheap. You can find this everywhere for really, really cheap, and it's just definitely something that's worth owning. Coming in at number 9 is a visual novel that I recently played and absolutely loved, and that is AI, the Somnium Files. This is so good. More so for story, but the story was so good that I couldn't put it down. And to be honest with you, the 2 main characters in this game, Aba and Date, are like the best duo ever. Like, they'd be in a top 10 list of video game duos or just characters in fiction. Like, they were just fantastic together. There was great humor in this game. The story was super creepy. I really like sadistic, super creepy visual novels. Like Danganronpa and stuff. I just love those. So this is actually the creator of the Zero Escape series did this game, and it's really good. It doesn't disappoint. So I think this is a game that not a lot of people talk about. You don't hear about it too often. I think this physical version is getting harder to find. It's also on the PS4, but it's really, really solid. The puzzles in this game are challenging, and yes, I looked up stuff because I just really wanted to play it for story. because it was really engaging. I honestly couldn't put it down. Like, it was really exciting. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. It's really solid. So if you enjoy like the Zero Escape series, like 999, or like the Nonary games, if you like those, or you like Danganronpa, or you just like creepy stuff, you will like this because it's like a murder mystery game, and the police are basically going inside your dreams to find out what happened, and get more information to do detective work, and it's really cool. So it's kind of like, you know, a sci-fi thing meets mystery and horror. It's really, really good. Coming in at number 8 is another game that I recently just beat, and I thought this was like, if you were a kid in the 90s, this is like perfect. I know there's a few other games like this, and I haven't played them yet, but this one just did it for me, and that is New Super Lucky's Tale. This was so good. This is like, you know, you want to play some of those old N64 platformers, but then you play them and they're super janky and like the controls are terrible. This is exactly what you want. It's those kind of games, but you get no jank and no like crappy camera controls. It's like really solid. It's what you wanted the N64 games to feel like, but you didn't really get that back then. But now you can. Now you get it. So it's really, really, really fun. You know, it's very stereotypical. Like, it felt like I was playing like a Banjo-Kazooie type game, or like Mario 64. It really had Donkey Kong 64, all those really classic platformers. It felt like that, but it was super enjoyable. The difficulty is actually, like, in my opinion, like a medium, where it's not really too hard, but it's not too easy either. It's the perfect amount. If you just want to blast through levels, that's totally something you can do. And if you want to sit and collect all the different things you have to collect in the level, then it makes it way more challenging, way more fun, in my opinion. I tried to collect actually a lot of stuff in this one. Some levels I was just like, no, I do not need that. I'm fine to just go to the next one. But other ones I was like, no, I need, you know, I need that letter L or whatever to spell lucky in each level. It was really, really solid. This was recommended to me by quite a few people, and it's really good. It sometimes feels like there's 2D, like side-scrolling levels, and then there's the more open-world 3D levels, like a Banjo-Kazooie. So you kind of get it all. It's really good. So if you missed out on this one, definitely pick this up. Coming in at number 7, we have Luigi's Mansion 3. This one is on the list because it's amazing, but also it was a huge surprise for me. I had never played a Luigi's Mansion game before. I didn't really have any interest to play a Luigi's Mansion game, to be honest. And then I ended up buying this one, and oh my god, it's really good. It like completely blew my mind. I think because I went into it with zero expectation. The other games, some of them, kind of knew what I was getting into. I had zero idea what I was getting into here. Kind of knew nothing. I mean, I've seen, you know, footage and stuff, but never actually sat down and played one. And oh my god, really good. Luigi's Mansion 3 is perfect on so many levels. And I will say, very challenging. This game is not easy at all. So it's not like a game you can give your 6-year-old and they're just gonna beat. So really, really, really challenging, really good. Amazing sound effects, great score, visuals are really fun. It was just a fun game. You're exploring. It's kind of its own thing entirely. So I wouldn't compare Luigi's Mansion to anything because it's just Luigi's Mansion. But it was really, really good. And it's on this list as a huge surprise to me, and I love those. I love when you buy a game that you kind of don't know much about, or you haven't really bothered looking it up, but people are saying, you gotta check it out. Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like a movie recommendation. You play it, and then it's fantastic. So that's definitely what this one was for me. At number 6, we have a recent title that came out last year, and that's Paper Mario: The Origami King. This is awesome! So many people were very upset about it. The Paper Mario series is kind of its own weird thing, has a weird fandom thing going on where people wish it was like the original, and I totally get that because I would be mad if they changed a series I liked, but blah blah blah. If you forget all that stuff and you just look at it for what it is, it's a really cool game. Now, it's not a JRPG, but it has a lot of JRPG aspects to it. The battle system, you don't gain experience points, and a lot of people are mad, like, why even bother? But to me it was like, because it's just fun. I legitimately enjoyed the battles. The boss battles included. Sometimes I'm not a boss battle person and I'm kind of like, ugh. But I really enjoyed this. I to be honest with you, I really thought some of the boss battles, every boss battle, was some of the most unique game design I'd ever seen. Just the most crazy, bizarre battle system, very strange. Like, I don't know how to describe it, so you just have to really experience it for yourself. But basically, you know, you're on a circle and you'd have to move to different spaces, but with arrows, and you'd have to really plan out your moves. And it was like a very, the most unique battle system really that I have seen in games. It was so cool. But I also love the music in this game is fantastic. The town, super well designed. All your sidekicks that walk around with you, super fun. Emotional. There's a part in this game, I mean, there's several parts in this game that are pretty emotional and sad, but there's one part, I know people who've played this know what it is, but it was legitimately like, wow, that's actually very sad. It was like, I didn't expect it, and I was like, whoa, they went there. But it was really good. I just have nothing but good things to say about this game. I don't think it was too long. I don't think it, you know, I just really like the game. For me, it was a nice surprise. I remember pre-ordering it and being worried, like, oh no, people were like, this is not going to be good. Paper Mario games suck nowadays. And that might be true, because some of the other ones might suck, but this one was so good. I had a blast with it, and that's why it's in my top 10. We have now made it to the top 5. These are all really good games, and coming in at number 5 is Final Fantasy IX, which is a port, obviously, with some quality of life, you know, changes, and it's really awesome. And you might say, like, duh, but I'd actually never played Final Fantasy IX, you know, in its entirety until a couple months ago, and I just thought it was fantastic. I remember playing it as a teenager. I didn't get very far. I don't actually remember how far I got. I don't think very far at all, but I remember thinking this is awesome. And then, you know, life goes on. I never finished it or cared or whatever. As I have it for the PlayStation 1, but just never went back. And I decided, you know, it's on the Switch. You can get a really nice physical copy for it, which is awesome, because I was so tempted to buy that digital copy. And then this came out, and I thought, no, I need this. I don't care if it's more money. I want the Final Fantasy IX physical copy for the Nintendo Switch. And this is now my favorite Final Fantasy game. So there you go. I really liked it, mostly for the story and the amazing characters in this game. They're so good. There's so much emotion, and the dynamic between the characters was really what got me. Zidane and Garnet, just awesome. Best, you know, one of the best couples for sure in video games, like hands down. The music is beautiful. Like the end scene, I was tearing, so that's enough for me. When it comes to favorite games, it's emotion. If I think of that game and I just go like, ah, yes, like, or it brings me a feeling, then that's it. If I think of a game and I think, yeah, it was fun and stuff, but I don't know, whatever, then it's not going to make a list for me, because it's just not something I care about that much. But this one, definitely, tons of emotion. You know, it's funny, I didn't really like, I was getting mad at Final Fantasy lately, and then I've played a bunch of Final Fantasy games that were my thing lately, and so now I'm really enjoying the series a lot more. But Final Fantasy IX is great. The battle system's awesome, and on the Switch, it's definitely a lot easier, because you can add different, like I said, quality of life changes, like, you know, you can change stuff with your HP and how strong you are and that kind of stuff. And you don't have to turn those things on, but you can if a boss battle is like kind of hard or whatever. So I thought it was awesome to play it this way. The Switch was great. I could definitely not play it on the PlayStation 1 anymore. So this was an awesome version of the game, and just it became my favorite Final Fantasy, so definitely made the list. At number 4, we have another port, but not a really old port, but that's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Wow, this game is so great. I remember liking it on the Wii. I never finished it, but I was so glad to finally go through it again and play it on the Nintendo Switch. Amazing. What I really loved about this game is that they cut it into chapters, and pretty much, not for the first few, but as we started to get into the middle of the game and near the end, every single chapter would end on a cliffhanger, and it felt like watching this amazing series that you're like binging, and you're like, oh my god, and it would say like the next chapter, and you're like, what is gonna happen, or they did that. It was just fantastic. And another reason I really liked it was it seems really safe at the beginning. You're like, okay, you know, there's different people and they're fighting robots and all this stuff, and you're like, whatever, seems kind of cliche. But then some weird stuff kind of happens, and you I don't know, I didn't see some of it coming, or you're like, oh, what? Like, it was like that the whole game. Like, I was literally like, no! And that's awesome. That's one of those, like, game feelings that you get, or in a TV show or whatever, when you're like, no, oh my god, or I don't know, they went there. Like, it was just really fun, and I liked the kind of off tones, and it kind of got a little bit creepy, and I really liked that. I like creepy stuff, and there's some weird stuff at the end where you're like, holy smokes. And I don't know, I fell in love with it. It's great. It's a very different battle system. It might take some time getting used to it, but I really recommend this game for, like, story period. There's a few difficulty modes, which is nice, and it looks so much better than it did on the Wii. Oh my god, you look back and you're like, that's hideous, but at the time it didn't look hideous. But now that they've really changed it and made it look a lot better, this is fantastic. So I know a lot of people are saying it's more of a remake than a port. It looks very similar, but yes, it definitely looks better, and just fantastic. It's an open world JRPG that has an MMO feel, which I hate. I hate that. Not my thing at all in games. But you could play it linear, and you could explore as much as you wanted. So it's kind of like you play the game how you want to play it. It's really up to you, and it was fantastic. So highly, highly, highly recommend this. We're getting down to the top 3 here. So at number 3, we have a very, very, very good platformer that is one of my favorites. If not, it's tied maybe with my other favorite Mario game, but that's Super Mario 3D World. And Bowser's Fury. So I will note I have not beat or played Bowser's Fury yet. So I'm more just basing this on Super Mario 3D World, which is the main game. Bowser's Fury is kind of an add-on, and I'm really excited to play it, obviously. Hopefully within the next couple months I'll get to it, so we'll see. But I'm only basing this on 3D World, and holy smokes. I played 3D World on the Wii U. At the time, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it, and it's just been so long. So playing this again was like, so refreshing. I didn't remember the levels, and it was like everything was brand new. It was fun to play it on the Switch. I was just so happy. This is amazing. The score, it's definitely one of the best scores in the Mario franchise. It's just fantastic. There's some tracks that are like, they're seriously really good. So the score in this alone makes it fantastic. The gameplay is great. Every level is awesome. It's just, I can't really say anything bad. I guess the only negative thing I could say is some people might say it's too easy. You can definitely blast through these levels, but at the same time, you don't, because you do have to collect, there's green stars in each level, and you collect them, and then you need so many stars to, like, unlock a castle at the end of each world, so you kind of can't blast through them, but you can. So it's up for debate. Some people would be more like, the originals are better, they're way harder, but this game is just so much fun, and that's what it comes down to. I was playing it, and I was like loving every moment of it. It's so much fun. Definitely pick this up. It's a very recent release. It just came out last month, and if you missed it on the Wii U, you are missing out, and I'm so glad they ported it to the Switch. It's just awesome, and I thought, man, this game makes me so happy, so it definitely had to be really, really high on my list. At number 2, we have one of my favorite games of all time. And whoa, that's the wrong game. The real number 2 is Dragon Quest XI, obviously. This is legitimately my second favorite JRPG of all time. That is saying something, because it's so hard to find newer games that really go on that list, because nothing ever can top that. But this game is really good, guys. Oh my god. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. I guess the only negative thing I could say is it's really long, and I hate that. But when I was playing it, it didn't feel long. I was like, oh my god, I've spent 93 hours on this, and somehow it didn't feel that long. So I really, really like this game. It is way too good. Think awesome 80s, 90s, whimsical, like the most fun anime adventure you can possibly think of, and you get this. This was just pure joy. Like, just smiling and happiness the whole time I played it. I didn't even care if I had to sit and grind. It was that fun, and you guys know I don't like grinding in games. I will throw games out the window when I have to do that. That means you, Octopath Traveler. That means you. Anyway, Dragon Quest XI is really, really good, and I just fell in love with it from the very first, you know, few hours I played it. I was like, okay, I've been missing out on a seriously amazing series, so now I love Dragon Quest. But nothing can top this. This is really, really hard to top. So, in terms of JRPGs, damn, this is a good one. And if you like JRPGs and you've never played this, what are you doing? Seriously, get this immediately. It's on like every console, so I don't even care. If you have an Xbox One, you can go play this. Yeah, Dragon Quest XI, guys, solid. We have reached number 1. What could it be? It is a game that I have been playing since it came out on the Wii U. So yes, it's a port, and I can't stop playing it. And just based on that alone, based on the fact that you can play it constantly, the replayability is just infinite. That's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's so good. This is my favorite Mario Kart game. It's my favorite, like, racing game. If you're thinking it's kind of weird that I'd put that as my favorite game, it's because I just don't ever want to stop playing it. Yes, it tops all the other games because I still play it all the time. I love playing it online with friends. I love playing it with my husband. We play it all the time. It's just so fun. I'm not sick of it at all. It's just so good. It's that good. It's that good. This is the best Mario Kart of all time. Hands down, no competition whatsoever. It's like legitimately fantastic. I just love it. I just love it. It's so much fun. It's a pick up and play, like, you know, if we want to play for 20 minutes, just, you know, something to do, we put that in. If you want to have a Mario Kart party night, put this in. I like other games that are like party games, like Super Mario Party. I have that. It's really, really good. But there's something about Mario Kart 8 that is just way too awesome. It's so good. So it tops my list because although some of the other games are like just, you know, fantastic, phenomenal games, if we're talking about a game that I'm just gonna constantly be playing for a long time, like if the, you know, the next console Nintendo puts out, I'm sure they'll, you know, we're gonna get a Mario Kart 9 obviously, but like I'm just gonna keep playing it constantly. It's just that good. So there you have it. There is my list for my top 10 Switch games. I have made a list that's longer, so I do have a top 20 actually, and there's tons of other games that I have that are really, really good. I will note there are 2 games that I really like, and so I'll mention them now, and that's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I don't have it for the Switch. I only have it for the Wii U, so I didn't include it for that reason. And the other game that I think is just phenomenal that is on the Switch, but I didn't include it because I only played it on the PS3, that's Ni no Kuni. So those games are really good, and they would maybe possibly make a top 10, but I just thought I don't own them, so I'm not gonna include it. But just so you know, those are fantastic games that I don't own for that reason, but that would be why. So I hope you guys enjoyed the list. If you like other lists, JRPGs, gaming content, stuff like that, please click like, subscribe for more stuff just like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.